Activities of some online loan companies in Nigeria have raised serious concerns. These companies, often referred to as loan sharks, target individuals in need of quick cash but allegedly charge exorbitant interest rates with harsh repayment terms. Victims who are unable to repay their loans often face unbearable pressure, with some slipping into depression while also taking other drastic measures to get out of debt. The concerns surrounding these online loan companies are multifaceted. The mental health implications of this situation cannot be overstated, with many victims feeling trapped and helpless with no way out of the debt cycle. Stakeholders have urged the regulatory bodies such as the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission and the Central Bank of Nigeria to take decisive action to address these concerns. So last week, my colleague Victor Mbadike brought a special report on this subject. Today, we have Adedeji Olowe. He is one of the quick loan app operators joining us for a right of reply. He is joined by one of our guests from last week, Gabriel Marvel, a debt freedom expert. Gentlemen, thank you very much for being here. I'll start with you, Adedeji. How do lending app operators plan to balance their business goals with the need to protect borrowers from falling into debt traps?
Thank you so much. I'm glad to be here. Just to correct, I'm not a lender. I provide software to lenders.
Okay.
So
software.
Because we provide software to lenders. Because we get to work with a lot of lenders, we have a very good view of what goes on in the market. First and foremost, I would like to let people know that only few lenders misbehave. And it's easy to look at thousands of lenders across Nigeria that are being kind of seen very unfavorable view. So
are you not being very generous when you say only a few lenders misbehave? Because I have received, been inundated with messages from people I've known like 10 years back about some loan and how their behavior is bad. And I know people who have, according to the reports, there are more people. So when you say few people, few lenders misbehaving, are you being generous?
No, I'm not being generous, I'm being factual. So here's the thing, lenders in Nigeria process millions of loans every month, right? And then if you even go to FCCPC website, you see probably like over 200 lenders. How many lenders have FCCPC shut down? Maybe a few. Now, am I saying those guys are doing something wrong? Yes, they are doing something wrong, but majority are law-abiding citizens. And the reality is that when we deal with very sensitive situations like this, we have to really be very careful from tarnishing an entire industry by the misbehaviors of a few.
So since you provide software, I'm sorry to keep interjecting, but since you provide software for these people, is there a way you can perhaps get them to behave more appropriately within the laws governing the arrangement, other than going, I mean, is it legal in the first place for them to go beyond, take the person's contact and spread messages about the person being a debtor?
So much. We don't work with any unethical lender at all. It's part of our policy. We can't do that. We actually appreciate everything that FCCPC is doing. In fact, our team ensures we help our lenders to meet all the regulatory requirements. For example, we help lenders to get to the store. All the misbehaviors that lenders do, you can't do that with us. You can't, for any of the lenders that are working with us, you can't have access to customer data, their contacts. You can't have access to their pictures. Nobody will even work with you to do anything illegal. So we do that. But the truth is, while I provide software, it doesn't mean I control all the lenders in Nigeria. Some of these people that do bad things have their own software, and it is really, really bad. So, but what I just want us to put into perspective is, while some lenders are misbehaving, the majority of lenders are everyday people like me and you, who have raised money from investors, who have set up their businesses, who have decades of experience, and they are parents, their husband, their wives, just like everybody else, trying to do a honest business in Nigeria. So,
all right.
But it doesn't take away from the fact that those who are misbehaving, they need to be dealt with. And what they do to their borrowers is totally unethical and is not acceptable.
All right, I'll come back to you. I do have more questions, but let's bring in Gabriel and just get his thoughts about all of this. Since yours is more of getting people to be more aware about some of the dangers that come with the practice of seeking so much loan, what steps can be taken to increase awareness and education on safe borrowing?
All right, thank you, Ma. First of all, my brother, thank you for joining me this evening. I'm happy to speak with somebody that is on the operating room, and I love one of the points he said where they deny access for these lenders, to gain private files of people. But here is the thing. To just correct a point, first of all, it is actually a few of them that abide by the rule, and the host of other of them are very abusive to the entire rules and guidelines that govern financial sector. But back to the question that you asked me, we've tried our best, the loan shark review community, and many of us are trying to push this cause ourselves to involve the government, to involve a lot of personalities, and because of some privacy policy, I will not say some things online, but we see that the only way to bring sanity to many of these abuses is one, by educating the people. So we have to become the bridge that bring the very policy of CBN, the very policy of consumer rights control, the very policy that govern finance in generally, and so that the people themselves can know the power that lenders have and the one that they do not have. And since we started our campaign, we have had record of over 50 to 60,000 people that have suddenly become free from the depression that comes because simply they are owing.
All right, Adedeji, there are some allegations about excessive interest rates and obviously lack of transparency with some of this lending app. Is there something your group that is legit is doing to check others who are behaving in this manner? And is there perhaps a standard acting procedure or interest rate procedure that should be popularized so people know what to expect?
Thank you so much. Let me put it this way. All over the world, including the UK, there are regulations that guide the kind of interest rate you can charge, especially for consumer loans. There are also regulations that guides how you apply penalties to loans as well. But when we look at the industry itself, when you look at the interest rate a lender could give, right? Is always a function of the economics. So in Nigeria today, the inflation rate itself is about 27%. So lenders, for example, raise money from investors. So take a typical lender who raises 100 million from investors at 2%, that's 24%. The lender has to give out money to everybody. So this is 100 million. Most of the money some of the money will not come back, not most. A lender actually has to have almost 97% collection rate before they can break even. So the truth is also in Nigeria, where in other countries where you get your money back because there are consequences for not repaying your loan. If you are in the US or UK, if you are owing money and you don't pay back, your name goes to the credit bureau, you're in trouble. But in Nigeria, the consequences are almost nothing. What that means is that the NPL, right, for lenders in Nigeria are higher than other countries. To stay in business, they are forced to raise their interest rate. So the truth is, in every regime, interest rate that you charge is a function of the risk and the inflation. And then, of course, obviously, lenders need to make money. But here is the interesting thing with lending. If you toe that line and you increase your interest rate too much, you have what they call a situation where you actually don't make money because those who come to you are those who don't care about paying back anyway. So if you make it 1,000% per day, they don't have the mind of paying back. So lenders always have to walk that fine line to find out what is the interest rate that is good enough to be able to cover the cost of fund, the cost of operating the business, the risk premium, and also that interest rate that will not make them to go to the side where they only attract customers that won't pay back. Now, So today, if you go to any bank in Nigeria today, even banks which offer the cheapest phone you can think of, how much is that? You probably get about 30%. That's 2.5%. But even the banks are never usually available. So people go to lenders, but these lenders also get their money from banks. So you see them charging between 4%, 5%, 6%, depending. But once you see people strolling into the region of like 10% per month, then it's not going all right, because these are the interest rates that are really, really unreasonable, and you can only attract people that don't have the mind to pay back in the first instance.
Okay, I'll come back to you. Gabriel, what strategies can Nigerians employ to manage their debt effectively when borrowing, particularly from lending apps? And add to that, what resources are available to help them in this quest?
All right, thank you so very much, Matt. We had this meeting. I've invited loan apps, owners of loan apps. I've invited, sponsors of loan apps that come, let's talk. Let it not be like an enemy versus Nigeria something, or Nigeria versus the people. Now, this is some of the thing. The truth is this: 90% of people that take money from loan app take it with the intention to pay back. But the loan apps makes it very impossible for you to pay back. I'm trying to be as quick and as blunt as I can, no time to really explain. Why did I say so? You cannot charge interest rates extremely above the MPR. The MPR has already arrived at 27.50%, just the recent one that we have now. At least you want to take your charges, you should do it in a way that it should be reasonable. Are you aware that some of these loan apps charge at most at 40% a week, some 200% a year? I received a document this evening that charge 500% in 2 years. How does that make sense? So if there's going to be, if we want to talk about loan recovery, making it easy, the loan apps have to come to themselves and say, see, we can, especially most of them that claim they are microfinance bank, they should follow the framework of microfinance bank and ensure that their charge fee is not outrageous. That's number one. Number two, another thing that makes people run away from paying loan apps is the abuse of daily overdue interest. The CBN has a framework. In fact, the CBN has a framework on actually how loan or money loan interest should be charged. They said it should not be exorbitantly above the MPR. That means you can put your resourcing fee, you can put your strategies fee, but it should not be over above it. And then for daily default interest, it is prohibited. CBN only permit for 1% a month. But this loan app, you're going to see somebody miss his payment today, of maybe he took a loan of just 20,000 naira. And in 1 month, 20,000 naira has become 300,000 naira. How will he pay? So you see, the loan app are the ones that are actually causing this. Number three thing they do, the use of threat and defamation. According to the Constitution, immediately you introduce threat and defamation to recovery of anything, it becomes a criminal offense. Yes, and such agreement instantly is dead on arrival. Lastly, most loan app, 90% of the loan app, they use false representation of government, personnel. They try to impersonate people, impersonate the police, impersonate lawyers, putting Nigeria in fear. So it's safe to say, if there's going to be, differences and see people start paying, this method and these practices have to be revisited by these loan apps. I would, if they have an organization to even invite you, I can help out a lot of strategies that will see loaners start paying.
I really wish we had more time. I thought we did, but I've just been told by my producers that's all the time we have. Adedeji, thank you very much for coming to speak from your perspective as a software provider. And of course, Gabriel, thank you for obliging us as well.